You think you're self-aware? You're not. Think again. Studies show 95% of us believe that we have self-awareness, but only 10 to 15% of us actually do. And here's the kicker. The higher you climb in your organization, the less you listen to people. The higher you climb in your organization, the less people actually provide you with real feedback. So ask yourself, if raising self-awareness is about getting feedback and you're not getting any of that, how could you possibly be self-aware? That just means your blind spot is growing every single year. And self-awareness is something that we all believe that we have. But once again, according to research to Dr. Tasha Urich and a study of over 5,000 leaders, 95% thought that they had it, but the study actually proved that only 10 to 15% had any level of it. So the gap is real. Self-awareness is not just knowing what you're like and what you don't like. It's about seeing yourself and how others see you as well. In a world that is beginning to celebrate authenticity, we're finding that few people genuinely tune in with themselves. So there's a few areas that the study dives into, and I'll hit a couple of them, but perception versus reality. Most people overestimate their self-knowledge. There's this gap between how we see ourselves, which is called internal self-awareness, and how others actually see us, which is external self-awareness. Real self-awareness requires both, yet few people actively pursue this balance. And so when you address these two sides, internal self-awareness is understanding the values, our passions, our motives, knowing what drives us, hopefully our purpose. External self-awareness involves seeing ourselves from others' perspectives. People who manage to balance both are very rare. In fact, I think she calls them self-aware unicorns. But they're the ones that have true self-awareness. And that's why that number is so low, even though that we think that it's high. There's a big myth of introspection. I talk about conscious leadership, and that is not corporate title specific, but conscious leadership is about deep introspection and high self-awareness. Well, most people go about it ineffectively. They reflect on why they feel a certain way and not what. And so when we think about this, instead of something that triggers us, and instead of asking, why are we triggered? More important is, what can I learn from this situation? What is causing me to be triggered? Those are more impactful questions to ask ourselves. Now, some of the pitfalls of self-awareness is certainly overconfidence, cognitive biases, and these are things that all of us have, and most of us don't even realize it. Confirmation bias, it clouds our view, and the truly self-aware habitually seek honest feedback. And if you're struggling to get feedback from your people, start asking for advice instead of feedback, because it changes the dynamic between the employee-boss relationship to more of a partnership. And I think that's important to do. So ask for their advice, not for their feedback. If you're struggling to get feedback, that is. Self-awareness isn't just a nice to have. Self-aware individuals are better leaders. They have more fulfilled lives. They have healthier relationships. They ultimately lead themselves and those around them. The difference is they seek it as an ongoing process, not just as a one-time insight. Hey, I'm going to have a meeting with all of my direct reports once a year, and I'm going to get feedback. That's not self-awareness. It's a good first step, but that doesn't bring self-awareness. And so I use a tool that creates a structured framework, and it really looks at 4 areas. And as I tell my clients, this framework, it's going to give you answers to questions that you fail to ask. And that's pretty powerful. It's the growth that we get usually isn't in the answers, it's in the questions and those 4 areas are: 1, behaviors, because these are the natural tendencies, how we act on autopilot, right? Consider a leader that's naturally assertive. Their boldness can drive results, but also can overwhelm quieter team members if they're unaware of this tendency. The second thing we look at is how we make decisions. How do you make choices? It's very unique to you. Are you quick to decide? Do you analyze every single angle and take forever? Paralysis analysis, as we say. The fast decision makers might shine in emergencies, but really struggle with detailed, heavy decisions. While the analytical, that individual may miss opportunities due to their hesitation, but they recognize that they can have an adaptive style. And if you're able to do that, regardless of which, decision-making persona you are, as long as you understand the other side of the coin, you can certainly self-evaluate. The third thing we look at is what we call energy style. And this reflects how we focus, how we show up in different settings. For example, I'm what I call a high thruster. I'm a sprinter. I love working in bursts. I love getting things started, but I struggle to finish. And I have to make sure, as a leader, as a CEO and a founder of two separate organizations, I have to make sure that I have people in place, as I call who's in place, that will help me be the finisher. Okay. The fourth thing we look at is kinetic energy style. And this is more about the capacity. We call it the inner horsepower of the battery, right? So many people terminate low kinetic energy people, low capacity people. Yet those are the people that do one or two projects at a time, start and finish. And they can tend to be, over the long term, more productive. Yet on the outside looking in, some people, especially higher energy, kinetic energy individuals, tend to look down their nose because they think those people are lazy. Then they end up terminating the wrong person, when in reality, it's just all about capacity. So those four dimensions, if you will, are like a window into our true selves. And they can highlight, hidden dynamics and how not only the relationship and communication style of others are, but how we make decisions, how we conserve energy, where we get our joy from. And really, it's about identifying these obstacles prior to them even happening. And I love when we place an employee in with a client and we do what's called a side-by-side. We look at both parties. We look at the employee and the supervisor, and we go through those four particular areas so we can identify those potential obstacles and potholes. And so examples of self-aware individuals, think about the leader who knows that they make quick decisions and they take time to pause, to gather input, to prevent steamrolling others. That's a bold, and by the way, when your team sees, one, your team knows that you're a steamroller, but two, when they see you take time to make a very thoughtful decision, maybe you're seeking input from others, you're going to move mountains with those people now. And that's what's important for you to understand. Or picture someone with high energy who realizes that, because their energy is so high, they might exhaust other members who prefer to move at a slower pace. So they adjust their energy style to create a more balanced environment. Self-awareness is about recognizing these nuances and using them to be more thoughtful and more impactful for those around you. So how can you build self-awareness? We're going to talk about this in next week's video, but something that I just want to make sure that everyone understands, and then we're going to hit some prompts that we haven't done in a few weeks, but self-awareness is something that you are sitting here saying, and hopefully you've made it to the end of this video. So you're telling yourself, man, maybe I need to check this out. If that's something you are interested in, please definitely reach out to me. I can help you with that framework. I can show you how we do it, and I'll be happy to share that with you. Just reach out via LinkedIn or by email, whichever's easiest for you. So as we get into the journal prompts, okay. So the first prompt that you see on your screen is, think about an area of your life where you feel very self-aware. How might others experience you in this area? Consider someone who might see things differently. What would they say? This prompt is going to help you uncover potential blind spots and encourage you to consider perspectives outside of your own, because that is that external self-awareness, as we talked about earlier. And it's going to help you align that gap between perceived and actual self-awareness. So take some time to journal on that. The second prompt, describe a time when you realized your internal view of yourself didn't match how others saw you. How did that experience impact you? And what did it teach you about yourself? This helps you understand that those two dimensions, internal versus external self-awareness, and reflecting on those experiences, where they really diverged, encouraging growth towards alignment. because chances are you're in that 85% who does not have a significant level of self-awareness. So just keep that in mind. And then the third journal prompt is reminder of a recent moment that left you feeling frustrated. Instead of asking, why did it happen? Ask, what does this situation reveal about my triggers or about my expectations? So this prompt just helps to reinforce the what versus the why. Not why do I feel a certain way, but what is the cause of these feelings? And these types of questions are going to help you break those self-reflective habits that don't serve you, because we all have them. And it's going to shift you towards more actionable insights to actually help you identify those blind spots. So I hope this helps. Thanks for joining me. I know this was a longer video today, but highly impactful. Do the work, and I promise you will start seeing a different level of self-awareness as you start putting these things in practice. Talk to you soon.